Right, hello there everybody and welcome to today's video. I know I was supposed to put this out yesterday, but unfortunately I got caught up busy doing something else. So I do apologise for that, and I will still be telling you what we were watching on the 29th, yesterday's date, 40 years ago, which was actually Easter Saturday. I hope everyone's having a good, I hope everyone had a good Palm Sunday yesterday. Mass was quite long yesterday and it'll be long again next weekend as we celebrate the resurrection. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Passion of the Christ, which is quite appropriate as today is Holy Week, as this week is Holy Week, and of course Friday being Good Friday. And so I hope you enjoy this one. The Passion of the Christ is directed by Mel Gibson, and it's quite a brutal film to watch. It's quite a hard film to watch. It's about the last 12 hours of Christ's life, what he went through, his suffering and his passion, and what he did for us, whether you believe it or whether you don't. You don't have to be religious or Catholic or anyone to watch this. Mel Gibson did a lot of studying before he wrote the script. He studied the mystics and a lot of other books and stuff before he got it right. Originally, he didn't want it to be subtitled, but because he thought the visuals itself would be perfect, because he decided to use the languages at the time: Hebrew, Latin, Aramaic, and so he decided. But again, I think he was persuaded or was told no, that wouldn't work. So he put the subtitles in. It's actually one of the highest grossing 18 films ever when it came out in 2004, and I went to go and see it at the cinema. And it's a very hard film to watch, what he went through. The thing that gets me the most is when they're using the cattails and they get him right on the side. I really have to turn my head away when watching that, but that's what he went through. That's what he went through for us. That's pain and suffering, and as I say, it's a very hard film to watch, and I normally watch it on Good Friday, along with Barabbas, as a kind of reminder to myself. I know I've said this before. As I've said before, I've usually watched this as a reminder to myself that Good Friday isn't really about just it being a bank holiday. It's about a commemoration of what we believe and what Good Friday is all about. I don't want to turn this into a preachy video or anything like that, because but the film itself is quite graphic, it's quite brutal, and it's a hard film to watch. And of course I'm looking forward to next year when Mel Gibson will be doing The Resurrection of the Christ, which is coming out I think on Good Friday next year, and part one does, and then the second part on Ascension Thursday, which is when Christ was taken up to heaven. As I say, it's a good watch if you've got the stomach for it and if you understand what they're trying to entail. It's about teaching and not preaching, but basically showing us what he basically went through, because they were quite brutal times, living under Roman occupation. They didn't put up with no crap. They put down insurrections and everything. So yeah, it's quite a brutal film to watch. It's a hard film to watch, and so, but I do recommend it if you want to know what Good Friday is all about. Because I was thinking about this yesterday, and as I said, I don't want it to sound like a preachy film, but preachy video, but it's like we commemorate what Christ went through and his passion and everything on the Friday, and then we celebrate his resurrection and on the Sunday for Easter. That's where the Easter eggs come from, because it's new life, and as my niece would say, happy chocolate eating day. So yeah, that is basically what this week and the long weekend is all about. So yeah, anyway, what we were watching 40 years ago, because it was actually Easter Saturday 40 years ago, yesterday's date, because sometimes they move much about, but they keep Christmas on the 25th. I never quite understood that, but I think it's to do with the new moon or something like that. So on BBC One at 8:30 you had Hunter's Gold. At 8:55 Banana Man. 9 o'clock Saturday Superstore. This is BBC One. 12 o'clock the Gospel of St Matthew. 12:15 the Grandstand. News was at 5:05. You had Sport and Regional News at 5:15. You had the news at 5:05, sorry. Then the Sport and Regional News at 5:15. 5:20 was the Tale of the Bent Bunny Picnic. Jim will fix it at 6:15. The Little and Large Show at 6:50. Every Second Counts at 7:25. The Collectors at 8. Only Fools and Horses at 8:50. News and Sport at 9:20. And the winner is at 25 to 10. Then you had the movie West Side Story. I've never actually seen that. I mean, to be fair, I'm not really into musicals or anything like that. But anyway, although I do remember going to see 42nd Street with Jill Gascoigne at school in 88 or 87, I can't remember. But I enjoyed that, it was quite good. Then over on ITV on Saturday the 29th of March, 1986, TVAM started to kick the day off, kick the channel off at 6:45. Then you had the Wide Awake Club at 7:30. The movie Dr. Snuggles at 9:25. Disney at Easter at 11. 11:10 was Emu at Easter. That was followed by the news at 12. Saint and Greavesy at 12:05. Wrestling at 12:30. Airwolf at 1:25. Benson at 2:15. Then you had International Motorcycling at 2:45. The Results Service at 4:45. Then that was followed by the news at 5. Then Connections at 5:05. At 5:35 was an extended A-Team episode. Then that was at 7:50, followed by 7:15 Bobby Devereaux on the Box. The Price is Right at 7:45. 8:45 was Clive James on TV. 9:45 was ITN News. Anne and Debbie at 10 o'clock. 10:45 was the LWT News headlines. Then that was followed by the big match. At 11:30 was the Beginner's Guide to Absolute Beginners. Then the Passion of the Christ at, not the one I've been talking about, this was another thing. 23:55 Passion of Christ at 11:55. So that's what we were watching 40 years ago. I'm sorry that I haven't been doing as much on here with my videos and everything. I've been looking for another job. Unfortunately, that hasn't been going so well. But I'm continue to look for one, and hopefully I'll let you know how it all goes. Right, I'll be back in 3 weeks' time with, I don't know what I'll be doing in 3 weeks' time or what I'll be discussing, but hopefully I will see you in 3 weeks' time. I hope you all have a wonderful Easter out there. I hope you all have a great time, and happy chocolate eating day for Sunday, as my niece Tania would say. Love her to bits. And so yeah, I shall see you then. Coming up after this is part 7 of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Okay, bye-bye for now.